Hello there. My name is Sloan, aka Art Plebe, and you're watching Strange Hungers on Total Party Kiss. Strange Hungers is a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition horror campaign. It details the secret history of the infamous Fulcrum Expedition, and is played in the homebrew world of Senelji. Join us as our characters venture deep into an icy wasteland, and discover the secrets of the chaos at the borders of their world. Please be aware, this campaign includes themes of body horror, trans and queer experience, religion, violence, and loss of agency. As such, viewer discretion is advised. Now let's meet our players. Kiara is an Aasimar Warlock Cleric multiclass and is played by Pooja. Pooja is an attorney and TTRPG player, writer, and streamer. You can find her on Twitter at Pooja and on Twitch and Instagram at Poojabberwocky. Barden is a half-orc barbarian and is played by Shan Benian. Shan is a freelance illustrator and comic artist whose work has been featured in the Adventure Zone Crystal Kingdom graphic novel and the Alleyman's Tarot. You can find them on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at AnonBDraws. Oesh is a snow elf wizard and is played by Sarah Chafee. Sarah is a TTRPG content creator and performer. You can find them on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at SarahIsCoffee, also everywhere else on the internet. Tazriel is a tiefling orc rogue and is played by VJ Harris. VJ is a platinum best-selling DM's Guild author, as well as DM, TikToker, and writer. You can find him on Twitter and TikTok at VJHCreations. Matthias is a human paladin and is played by Sloan Smith. Sloan is a stream producer, graphic designer, and TTRPG performer. You can find them on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at ArtPlebe. And finally, Strange Hungers is written and DM'd by Alex Teplitz. Alex is a writer, game master, and TTRPG designer. You can find him on Twitter at Alder_Mancy and on TikTok at Aldermancy, as well as creating games on Ko-fi and itch.io at SwordGhost. Once again, our content warning. This stream will feature content including body horror, trans and queer experience, violence, religion, and loss of agency. Safety tools are in place for our players, and we can stop the stream at any time in the interest of their safety. Thank you so much for tuning in. And now, on with the show.
You are gathered around a campfire. Even though the season of Whisper Wet is only just beginning, and the warm light of high heat has barely given way to the first chill, you still find yourselves leaning in towards the comfort of the flames. The felled wood is mostly sparse, not as thick or threatening as the pines of the Ungekwan or the mist-soaked rainforests of Nizande, but there's still enough cover to block out any light from the stars or moons above. Still enough unclaimed noises filtering through the wood to gently startle. A breeze that could be the heavy breath of a stone giant, the crunching of brush that could be the clattering of undead bone on bone. You all have just finished telling each other a series of interesting stories from across the continent of Senelji. Pooja, would you describe your character?
Sure. The camera pans to the shortest member of this little group, who is by no means short in the real world. Sitting at 5'6" is a brown-skinned Aasimar with very long, thick, dark brown hair, which in the night only looks dark brown, but in the day, in the sun, has glints of red and gold in it. They look very spooked and slightly terrified and desperately clutching to their next new best friend's arm. And she is wearing reds and golds and greens, traditional of where the area of the world she hails from, and an immensely impractical amount of jewelry that looks either very expensive or very fake. This y'all, is Kiara Ashna, our resident cleric / warlock.
The camera then pans to the figure that Kiara is leaning on. Shan, would you describe your character for us?
So, actually, I'd probably say that tucked between her legs, Kara is sat between this 6-foot half-orc, grey dark skin with vitiligo on her left side, making one eye moon-coloured, with a white streak that matches where the vitiligo lands, of long dark hair with shaved sides, dressed in a long poet's blouse with a very fine leather vest with leather belts that are covered in Celtic monsters just wrapping all the way around her. Also, very big tusks, top and bottom, and she's just patting Kiara on the head and just making sure everyone's all right. And this is Barden Fevereau Sang, our resident barbarian.
Thank you very much. The camera then pans upwards to a larger figure. VJ, would you like to describe your character?
So you're seeing like a 6'9" half-orc / half-tiefling with green skin with some blue tones, purple dreadlocks, antler-like horns, and he's got like a tightly fit shirt that acts like armor, an emerald green color and matching pants. And this is Tazriel.
Thank you. Next, would you like to describe your character, Sarah?
I'm here. Yes, sitting across at about 6 feet and no inches. This winnowy snow elven figure is sitting looking markedly, purposefully unimpressed and not scared. They have this very beautiful blouse and dress on that don't quite look like they're going to be fit for the waists, and are just absolutely adorned in the same way that Kiara is, with just so much jewelry. But as somebody pointed out in the last episode, it does look very expensive and very old, almost like she were a walking antique store. Alex. And underneath all of that, they are covered from wrist to chest, and it stops right around at their neck in tattoos. Absolutely covered. Different like images, but mostly it's text that is written in a couple of different languages that seems, at first glance at least, impossible to decipher. That's Oish.
Thank you. And finally, we pan around to the leader of our expedition, Sloan. Would you describe your character?
Matthias is a tall human man. He has pale skin and hair that's pushed back with a large scar across one side of his face. Wears dark splint armor, all in black or close to black. And he is very, very muscular and carries a great sword on his back. And it's nighttime, right? We've just finished our stories.
Yes. In fact, because of the cover of the trees, you are in a large copse surrounded by tents, packs, sitting around a campfire. You've just finished eating dinner. You would say it is probably getting close to 9 or 10 in the evening.
Well, I think that we should probably head to bed. At least some of us. I'm going to wash up and go to my tent, and I'll see all of you in the morning when we get on the road. Tomorrow, we are going to rise early and begin our trek towards Aethri. In 2 days, there will be a sort of congregation there where the leaders of this the people who decide if we get funding or not will look us over and decide if we get funding or not. So that's what we have to look forward to. But it's a long way, and we need to get there within 2 days. So,
Barden just goes, bright and early then.
bright and early.
How bright and early?
We'll likely be getting on the road at about 6:30.
Kiara immediately turns to Barden and whispers, "Can you please make sure I'm awake?"
Don't worry, I got you.
I'm just really bad at waking up in the morning.
Well, don't worry. We'll make sure.
Sorry, you weren't supposed to hear that.
Sorry, that was my bad.
No, it's fine. Kiara don't know how to whisper. It's canon.
Amazing.
He just has really good hearing, probably, you know. And it's all right. I'll get you up. It's no problem.
I'll get better. That's how sleep cycles adjust, right?
So I hear.
I've been on my own for a very long time, and I prefer the nighttime, but I guess we can see if we change that.
Right. Well,
Would you all, as you retire to your tents, would anyone like to stay up and keep watch? Matthias, you do know that there are guards around to patrol and keep watch, but it's up to you guys.
I will be staying up. I will not be keeping watch.
Absolutely.
Barden raises a hand,
yes.
just like, oh, I don't mind. Oh, we do have it's around the campfire, right?
Yeah, there are a bunch of tents that are set up around the campfire here for you.
Yeah, no problem. Anyone want to join me? Have a natter?
I will.
Absolutely. Brilliant.
All right. So the rest of you can make your way if you wanted to wash up or arrange your goods, decompress, wipe off the sweat from the training that you've gone through today. You're welcome to do so.
Pick my spells.
hell yeah. Pick those spells.
Look at those spells. Yeah, I would love to just take an hour and get my boy.
Absolutely. What does it look like as you cast the spell in the manner that we've discussed you are capable of casting it?
Mm-hmm. So, when Awaish loses their familiar, the book does remain, because their familiar is their spell book. So now all they have is just a very boring, run-of-the-mill, ordinary spell book, and they take it back into their tent that they have sequestered for themselves, and after a few moments, you watch them kind of lift one of their arms that has some of the tattoos on it and take a finger that has, it starts to light with a blue glow, and they will trace over one of the lines of text that is on their arms and then copy it onto their book in that same glowing script. And that happens for about an hour until the script begins to glow a little stronger and then sink into the leather of the book.
Lovely. As you do this, as you complete this hour, there's sort of a tearing noise of the leather on the cover of this book as a single eye blinks open. You hear a faint humming begin in your mind, like a microphone or like an instrument tuning at the beginning of a song. And then there's a... Took you long enough.
I can't be at your beck and call whenever you get hit.
If you send me into danger, maybe you should expect to bring me back sooner.
That's a terrible point. I work on my own time. I'm glad you're all right.
Yes, I am just fine.
Go to bed.
If a book could shrug, Darren shrugs. The eye blinks back closed, and you can tuck him away. Barden and Taz, you're taking first watch over the course of this hour. If you have anything you'd like to discuss, go right ahead.
It seems like Oash has taken quite a liking to you.
I hadn't noticed. She has. She's bright red.
Mm-hmm.
She does not. She's not a good liar. It's like clear on her face. Like, she has she? It's just staring out into the woods, like,
Tazriel is just gonna just pat you on the shoulder. Yes, I'm sure you haven't noticed.
Maybe a bit. I kind of leans in. I haven't really had that many people doing that. I mean, I've had a few, but they've been really quite disgusting, and she's not. What do I do?
Are you interested as well?
Like, it's just a face journey of maybe she seems really cool and pretty, and I mean, I'm not the kind that just jumps into bed with people. It's not my thing, but she seems nice.
I wasn't suggesting jumping into bed, but
no, of course not. I mean, what do you think I should do?
Maybe a conversation about... I found in these kinds of situations, it's important just to be honest and upfront about what you want, and just to say, I am interested, but this is how I like to take things.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. Do I wait for her to come to me, or do I do it? What do you think?
That's up to you, but you and I are also different, but I tend to be the one that's like, hi. And
I mean, you are very confident. Like, meeting you was just amazing. Like, but you also have like this presence about you. Like, you've got that. I mean, I have something, but it's not what you got.
I think what you've got is excellent first, and I don't know. I think it depends on what scares you more: waiting or going up to them.
Probably waiting. I'll be honest. But I might I don't know, might wait till tomorrow. I've always might get ideas. Going to someone's room or someone's tent late at night. You know. What do you think?
I think waiting till tomorrow. Waiting. Yes, the going to someone's tent late at night will probably have the wrong effect that you're looking for.
Might give someone a very, very strong idea. Not the wrong idea, just not right for me. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you. I actually wanted to ask you something. And I mean, obviously we can talk about places in Skyholm, as you actually wanted to talk about. But I have a kind of vaguely personal favour to ask. Well, not favour. Would you mind teaching me Orcish?
And like Taz's face looks exactly like mine right now.
I know it probably seems really silly, but
No. It's not silly. I would love to. I would be honored.
I wasn't raised by orcs. I'm really good at Jointish. My dad's a Furbolg. But I've always felt a bit left out, because if I meet other people, and I was so excited when you came over and was like, hey family, and I was so terrified that you talked to me in Orcish, because it feels a bit like a sham. for this. I know it's silly, but just like hello and please, nice to meet you, and where's the toilet? I feel like that one's useful.
When we're done, you will speak it just as well as me.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. Yes, thank you. I'd love that. Oh,
Wonderful.
and then Barden's gonna bring out her book and just be like teaching Taz everything she knows about Skyhome and all the nobles and all the houses, and just swapping back and forth.
And Taz is taking meticulous notes. Like has a little like nicely bound leather book. Opens it up. It's like there's like maybe 10 pages left that don't have anything in it, and it's just like.
Nice handwriting. I like it.
Thank you.
Matthias, is there anything you would like to do before you go to bed?
He's probably gonna stay up, not on watch, but in his tent, just like listening to make sure that nothing crazy happens for like an hour,
Absolutely.
hour and a half before he finally is like, okay,
Okay.
nothing wild's
could I
happened
take
so
a
far, I'm gonna go to sleep.
perception check from you?
Yeah! With my ears. Boop. Okay. Perception. That's a 16.
16. All right. So, yeah, because of the proximity of the tents around this campfire, they wanted to put the expedition members pretty close. You can overhear just some glimpses of the conversation by the campfire, some like faint humming maybe coming from Oaish's tent. You also hear the wind shifting in the trees. You are pretty familiar with this area since you've been stationed here for a while, so in this first hour and a half, you don't hear anything out of the ordinary, although there are the generally ominous sounds of being out in a forest away from a town or city.
He's going to let go of his need to make sure that the guards are doing their job correctly, and is just gonna go to sleep.
Wonderful. Anyone else? Is there anything you'd like to do?
Oh god.
Awaish goes to Barden's tent late at night.
No! I fucking knew this was gonna happen.
The minute you said it. The
Wonderful,
minute you said it.
wonderful.
What a setup.
This is
Okay.
exactly why I said what I said.
Thank you so much for this gift, VJ.
Kiara and Barden are sharing, but Kiara is passed out.
That's also totally fine. I think Awaish would also plan for this. And so as Barden is getting ready to get into bed, she will see just a tiny little flash of light in front of her. And then another flash like a foot away.
I love the idea that, like, Barden is partway taking off all the layers of her clothing. So she's gotten the vest off, she's gotten the poet shirt off, and she's just in this, like, crop top that she wears, black high neck crop top with, like, it has a back window. And she's just, like, down to her, like, her trousers, just like, is it just literally in front of her?
There's one that, like, happens in front, and then one that happens, like, a foot, and then another one that, like, goes at the exit to the tent.
Can I roll to see if I can work out what the hell this is? Like, do I need my sword?
Yeah, if you want to give me an insight check, I'll just call that a...
Oh, that's an 18 plus.
Yeah.
That's my insight. That's an 18 plus 5.
I think you connect the dots with a roll that
23.
high.
She does leave the sword. Just gently comes out, like, opens the tent, like, eyes out, like, into the darkness. Like,
Mm-hmm.
As you stare out into the darkness, you'll then see another, and you'll see Oaish's face lit by it.
Hello.
are you
Took
alright?
you a bit to see it, but glad you're out.
Like, Barden pulls the tent a little bit to cover over her chest, like, yeah, I'm out. Are you okay? Are you doing all right? Are you
Do
not
you
comfy?
need a moment?
Puts the tent side away and is just sort of got her hands on her hips awkwardly, like trying to work out what to do with her body. Like, I'm fine. I'm fine, absolutely fine.
You certainly are.
Blush. Thank you. You're very pretty too. Like,
Yeah, and as Varden kind of like struggles for vocalization, Oish is going to stand up from the fire and stride over a bit and say, now listen, obviously there is something here. I very much think that you are attractive. You think that I am attractive. This is not something that's difficult to see. However, there is one little problem.
oh,
And that's that we're about to go on a very dangerous journey together. Assuming we
Yes.
get funding, of course.
I mean, I'm sure. I have an idea that we might be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine.
So why not just have a little bit of fun before we go out into danger, you know? Nothing serious, of course. I'm not very interested in any kind of... well, anything with someone that I'm going to be traveling with, but I think you can understand that as well as I do.
Arden's just thinking about this previous conversation with Taz and just being like, gotta be honest. Okay. Okay. I appreciate your honesty. And I appreciate that we're being open with this. And I think you're very attractive. I don't think I can be the person that just does that sort of thing. I just, like one night and then we have to, I'm gonna have to travel with each other and it's awkward. If you are happy to maybe wait and see what happens, then I'd be interested in that. But I don't jump into things like this. This whole place coming here has been the biggest jump I've ever made in my life. It's a bit too quick to be doing two at once. I mean, and then she flushes again because of the accidental innuendo, and just, I mean, not that that's bad, but anyway, yes, I think you're very attractive, but and I appreciate the offer, and if you wouldn't mind waiting, then maybe, but look, Yara's sleeping. Like, I don't want to wake her.
I thought you would be more fun.
I
What a
mean,
shame.
I am fun. And she kind of leans in a little bit. I know they're the same height, but she definitely does lean. And she's like, I am fun. Just gotta wait a bit.
Oish leans in as well and goes, pardon Feveru's song. You're not fun. You're nice. And then back up a bit. Says, well, can't say I didn't try, but good night.
Good night. Keep it in mind. Sleep well. And she heads back into her tent.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can I say though that, like, for whatever reason, at some point I want to come out to like get some water and just pop my head out for a second and see the tubes going back, and I'm like, it was good I had that conversation.
Absolutely. Love it. Love to see it.
It.
Kiara, you did say you probably passed out, but I wanted to make sure that we got to you if there's anything you wanted to do before we take our long rest.
I think before Barden even comes back to the tent, Kiara would have taken some time to sit and meditate and pray, and then pass out in a series of very occasional tiny snores.
Lovely.
And when Barden comes in, Kiara is definitely going to curl up like a little kitty cat next to them.
Wonderful.
Cute.
Yeah, Barden will just like, and just have an arm.
Lovely. With that being
Puddle.
said, as you all descend into sleep, you may gain the benefits of a long rest. You can restore your spell slots. If you use them all, you can restore all your hit points because you are resting comfortably by a campfire and you have access to food, healing, anything you might need to rejuvenate yourselves. And we will begin with the next day. If anyone has anything else they want to add, go for it.
Just do I need to roll?
Oh yes, this will be at the top of the dawn. We have some rolls that will need to be made. If you guys want to do those in private, I know who has to roll, and you can send those to me or share them with the audience if you'd like.
I will say that Matthias is predictably up, like, right before the sun begins to rise, and is heating water over a fireplace. Fire pit. And is going to make some tea.
I did roll a 1, but I also rolled a 1. So, Wish is a little cranky, but that's it.
Okay. Yeah, you can feel there's something stirring in the air. Maybe it's just the weather or the chill setting in, but you're uncomfortable today. All right, so Matthias, you have brewed your tea. Everyone else, if they want to step out of their tents, you guys see sort of an overcast day today. Today is the 24th day of Ruo. The season, as I said, is Whisper Wet, which for those not in the world of Senelji is the equivalent of fall. It is early fall. And to give a little background, now the Fulcrum Expedition is going to be heading into the Valkyrie Wastes, which is known for being incredibly cold. Normally you would expect to try and head out during the summer then to catch any kind of warmth that you can, but the Fulcrum group needed to wait for funding from this arch gathering, so this is the earliest the group could go, which means that they are catching the end of some warmth, but they will be heading into the wastes at a time that it is beginning to grow colder. Today is also a full moon of Varun. This is the first moon, one of 2, on the planet known as Neum. That being said, you rise very early, as I have said, gather around the campfire. If there's any other preparations you wish to make, food, water, things you want to gather from the training camp, you are welcome to do so.
Just better clothes. Beyond that, if people have them here.
Yeah. There's probably some, like, cloaks and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some blankies, some...
Oh, yes.
Throw a
Kiara.
blanket over myself.
Yes.
Kiara is definitely blanketing it up as Barden definitely has to wake them. And they will stumble out in a blanket and just plop down next to Matthias and put their hands out for some tea.
He looks a little surprised and then is going to reach for... I didn't bring more than one mug. Hold on. And he's gonna go retrieve... He'll go retrieve one and then come back. I have a green and a gray. Do you have a preference?
Gray, please? Also, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for... I'm sorry, I'm sleepy.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I don't usually have anyone join me, so that's what and he's going to make a cup of tea for Kiara and pass it to her. Did you sleep well?
Like a puppy. It was wonderful. Completely undisturbed. A beautiful night. And
Good.
I think I'll be fine if I get to sleep like this, but why do I have a feeling that's not going to happen?
Tazriel's gonna come out as that's being said and say, "You're correct, that isn't likely. I've heard restful nights are hard to come by on the road, and specifically where we're going."
It's difficult, but we'll make do.
Yes. Here's to learning experiences. And she just clinks her cup.
he'll raise his as well and just kind of like give you a little clink and raise it to his own lips. Totally surprised by this delightful little warm creature. He's so nice.
So nice.
And has a little smile on his face. And quietly sits with you, at least to finish that mug before doing the like dad get up where you slap your thighs like, huh! And
Oh my god.
and stands to get rid of
Matthias does not make dad jokes this whole campaign. I'ma cry.
Barda would like to go hunt for some cloaks for Yara, herself, and Oish.
Yes.
But-
You are able to go up to. Sure. You can give me an investigation, and then
That's an 11.
an 11. All right.
It's a 12. Sorry.
12. You begin to scavenge around. There was that pile of goods that Matthias had pointed out. You don't see anyone here dressed in warmer attire. As you're just looking generally around the camp, you do recognize some soldiers are wearing just like red sort of overcoats, or like these gold symbols of the Raj, but they're not dressed for warmer weather. So you don't find anything just out or folded, although you do see up bright and early a large centaur is trotting around. Looks like he's checking on other soldiers. He also has like this sort of steaming wooden pitcher, and he's pouring hot water out into some disgruntled two disgruntled faces into mugs around this campsite.
Morning.
Oh, good morning. How can I help you today?
I was just wondering if you had any extra cloaks. My companions are a wee bit chill.
He sort of like pats one large leg. You can see that he's like tied this like a red carpet or blanket around his waist. But he's not wearing anything else over his large hind. Says, I'm sorry, I'm afraid that we don't have much in the way of cloaks or warm weather clothing here at this campsite, but I have heard that you might be able to pick some up in Aethri once you get some of the funding there. Much better selection than we can offer here.
Oh, no worries. We'll just stick close to the fire. You
Yes.
slept well?
Oh yes, absolutely. I sleep well every night.
It's good to know.
I haven't had a dream since I got hit on the head a while back in a battle. But I sleep like a baby, like a fawn.
I suppose that's a good swap. No dreams, very good sleep.
Absolutely. I used to have these terrible nightmares about being roped to a cart. Not anymore.
Did that ever happen?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, good. Can't imagine.
Would you
That
like some
sounds
tea?
awful. Oh, yes, actually,
Oh, here you
absolutely.
go. Pours you a mug of hot water and pulls like a little pouch out and drops some leaves in.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Keep it cozy.
If you need anything else, I'll be over there. 1 second. And he like trots over to a young soldier who is just coming out of their tent to accost them with some hot water.
The energy from Bellin is
Overwhelming in the
so
best
strong.
way.
Love Bellin.
Yeah. And I think Oish does come out of the tent like a little bit after Barden does and just joins everyone around the campfire without giving any kind of greeting and just like open her book.
Oh,
give-
your book is back.
It's always here.
Oh, I thought it
the eye.
got destroyed.
Is
Came back.
it all right? Are they okay?
I can heal if it needs healing.
Are you talking about this? And then Oish in her head is like, I don't know, do something scary.
Okay. He sort of like emerges from under whatever like skirt or pocket or pouch that you have, and you guys see this book sort of like hover up a little bit. There's a cracking noise of like the leather spine opening, and then in a flurry of like teeth, tentacles, and wings, a bunch of paper just erupts from this book as it opens. Like an origami nightmare scene being played out over these pages, and then snaps back shut with a just like giving off a faint blue ink splattering out of it.
Buddy, are you okay? Do you need some help? That doesn't seem pleasant.
Like Barden, who went to see if the mimic was okay, is fascinated, and it's just like, sorry, is it they, he, she, he. That's amazing. He's amazing. Does he do that all the time? Is that just how he wakes up? Is he grumpy?
Does he have a cold?
Did that
Does he
book
have
just
cold?
puke?
Yeah, was that a sneeze or a puke or what was that? A
He
burp?
does what I
Maybe a
ask
burp.
him to.
There's a voice you hear in your head, Oesh, sort of like a, I am amazing, and I'm glad that one thinks so.
Get cocky.
Can I say hello?
No.
Aww.
I'm so sorry.
Is this in her head or
Yes.
out loud?
In-
I was about to
yes,
say.
no. You guys do not hear anything. As soon as the book snaps back closed, it just sort of falls back into whatever pouch or Oesh's hand.
Oh,
Looking like
if
a
you ever-
regular book.
if you'd ever like to share your amazing friend there, I'd love to see. I have a book that we could share if you like.
He doesn't like to talk to strangers.
Understandable. But we were strangers.
Were?
I mean, we know each other's names now.
We do know each other's names. Are we leaving soon, or is that...
Yes, we'll be leaving quite soon, actually. We have carts set up, but we'll mostly be walking. If anybody needs them, I'm sure you can hitch a ride on one, but probably no more than one person, and probably for not too long.
Arden just sort of very gently nudges Kiara, just like, I'll give you a piggyback if you need it.
Oh, well, you're
No.
you're the best. B, you're amazing, and maybe walking will wake me up, but I'm not saying I won't need it.
Yeah, not all the way. You know, it's always good to get a bit of exercise in the morning, but
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we'll be
I've
walking
always
a while.
been told that. Usually I just sleep through it when most people do the exercises in the morning. So this will be a new experience.
Experiences for us all.
Alright.
As soon as we've packed our things, closed down camp, we'll load everything onto the carts, and we'll get on our way. So,
Wonderful. As you guys set off for the first leg of your journey, I am going to need a perception check from two people who are watching out, and I would love to take either a animal handling check or a vehicle handling check from anyone who would like to be directing this horse.
ooh,
I'll
got
roll it just for funsies.
yeah.
Okay, we'll take a perception from Kiara and
I think it makes sense for
Arden.
Matt
Arden?
to be doing stuff like that, but if he's not watching, he'll try and fuck with the horse.
Yeah, sure.
That horse.
I rolled a natural 19 on the die plus
Hell
3.
yeah.
Nice. That's a 17 plus 5.
Fuck yeah.
Y'all are killing it. All right. Oh, you know what? Actually, I need a vehicle or animal handling and a survival as well. If you want to make the survival, since you know the way, I'll let you do that with advantage.
Yeah, hell yeah. I can do that for
Okay.
sure. Okay. Oh, wow. I rolled garbage for both of those dice.
Oh no.
I rolled a 3 and a 5 on the dice, and I have a
Excellent.
+2 for survival, so that is a 7.
A 7 survival. Wonderful. And who's taking, should we have probably Oesh or Taz will then animal handling or cart.
Go for it, Tess.
God, I have no
Unless-
animal handling.
The sacrificial
Negative.
lamb.
Maybe I should.
You-
We shall look to the cart and the horse and go, fine.
Yeah, go for it.
Can't interact with animals because then they'll look soft. That's a 15.
15. You are decently intimidating enough that this horse responds where you direct it to go.
I think actually on the outside, like when anybody is watching, Oash looks very intimidating, but when anyone is like distracted looking out, they are very kind to this horse.
Oh.
The first kind gesture we've seen from them.
You see nothing.
Thank you. All right. So, looking at my map here, you guys do not have this map, but I'll give you a little description. So you are currently in the Felled Wood. This is a wood between the city of Bafalon, which is closer to Abjur, Abjur being the territory of the Empire, and between Fenfeld. Fenfeld is a smaller town that rests just on the border between Abjur and Skyhome. It is one of the places you can cross over the mountains. The other one being a river that travels from Por Int, which is a city in Skyhome, past Bafalon. So you have these two options available to you. You can either travel upriver, or you can travel by road and perhaps have an easier time crossing since there's an open gate there. Would you like to travel towards the river, see if you can find passage there with your cart and horse, or would you like to travel into Fenfeld and then cross over at that town?
You said the river goes to Port Int, right?
Yeah.
The other way.
Okay.
I was like, I think this is a party daddy choice.
Unless
Wonderful.
Daddy says what?
What? Unless anybody, he will turn and say, unless anyone has any desire to go the other way, I'd rather take the road.
We follow your illustrious leadership.
How can we not?
Thank you. And he's gonna turn and keep going. Walk up that road.
So with your excellent perception checks as you guys are traveling along this road, Matthias, you set off the party in fairly the right direction, which is pretty easy. Consider you guys are traveling around the outskirts of Bafalon at this point. You will pass by the city walls. You can see the architecture here, I would say is sort of Russian in origin. This is a lower city. It isn't, not towering spires, none of those like beautiful sort of mosque-like designs that you might see in a larger city in Abjur. But you have these sort of tiled roofs as you pass by and a set of orange stone walls that you take your cart and your horse around. You pass by Bafalon pretty easily, making your way towards the road. This is where it gets a little complicated because, Matthias, you have rolled a 7 for your survival, and you have to navigate between some of the smaller rivers of the River Weft network in order to make your way along the road that will take you towards Skyhome. Now, even with a 7, this isn't the most difficult journey. Luckily, the Asnan Mountains do tower over this border, so you can direct your way towards those mountains, but it is going to take you guys a longer time than it should have to make it to Fenfeld. But as I said, with a decent animal handling and with those perception checks, you are able to avoid any characters, any wild animals that you might encounter stepping off of a smaller road. So you guys will make it to the outskirts of Fenfeld on a fairly easy journey, even though it is a bit chilly, in about 4 hours. Normally you can make it in 2.5, but you wind your way fairly slowly.
I'd say if it's taking time, Barden will start just doing old giantish songs, just not too loud, but and giantish is just really, really long, almost poetry in this land, and so it's just doesn't really sound like words. It just kind of sounds like singing, but it is just a piece of poetry that she knows that it's like a traveling beat. She's having fun.
As we reach the outskirts of Fenfeld, I think I'm going to have us take our break here, if that works for everyone.
Hell yeah, we got to Fenfeld, baby.
Wonderful. Okay, we will see you guys in about 10 minutes. We're gonna catch a break, but we'll be back soon. Yeah, welcome back to Strange Hungers. As we pick up, our characters have been traveling from their first stop, the Fulcrum campsite, on their way towards the waste. You guys are coming up to the outskirts of Fenfeld. You've been traveling for around 4 hours now. You had breakfast. You've pulled off the road. You can see it looks like as you approach this town, and with the perception checks you had made previous to the break, it looks like there's sort of a line of carts and carriages that are traveling in and out of Fenfeld. This is a smaller town, but it is made busier by the fact that it is one of these stops as you are traveling between the border of the Raj Empire and into Skyholm. The Asnan Mountains, which are these lovely dark red mountains that are dusted with some kind of salt or snow on their peaks. They're lower here, but they expand out in this vista before your eyes. Fenfeld being this small town that is tucked between a gap in the Asnan Mountains here. You can't see beyond the town. It is sort of set up in a curve around this gap. You see similarly these red walls that are tiered at the top, sort of set back in layers. It looks like there are soldiers or guards who are watching over, and a single large gateway that carts are just lined up waiting to pass through. Because it is a little bit later than you wanted to get here, there's a bit of a line in terms of the travelers that are waiting to pass through this border here. So if you guys want to pull over for lunch to wait and see if the line lightens a little bit, you're welcome to do so.
Fantasy rush hour. Gets you every time. Matthias will just be looking at the entrance, and everyone on the cart, if you look at him, you'll just see his sort of form, and then his shoulders just like lift and shrink in a very heavy sigh, and he'll turn around. I think we can probably pull over for a little bit and maybe eat something while we wait for everything to clear up, if people are interested in that.
Yeah. I love the idea at this point, like, Barden has picked up Kiara and is just like, do you think you want to get that down again? You ready?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Thank you for that.
Right, let's pull off the side, and just gonna direct everyone off to the side of the road. And as soon as everybody's like off the side of the road, he'll probably just go sit, check in with everybody, make sure everyone's good, and then go to Barden. Didn't know that you were a singer as well. You're very talented.
I mean, it's technically poetry.
Oh.
It's jointish. It does sound a lot like singing, and I get where you might have mistaken it, but
Yes.
it's poetry.
Well, I'm not as experienced in the arts, so my mistake for mixing it up.
Of course. No worries.
So you are quite a bit further along in your training. Meant to say it more back in the camp, but obviously there's a lot of stuff going on. Very, very, very impressive. When you were telling that story too, you mentioned I had forgotten about that hero.
Sir Feverfew.
Feverfew.
Yeah.
Still,
It's still strange that it's so close, but I didn't name me, so...
Yes. Do you still read those stories? Or believe them?
I mean, I know them by heart. And I might have a book in my bag that might have some of the stories in it. But, yeah. I mean, I grew up in the biggest library in Skyholm.
Right.
I did a bit more research when I got a bit older.
Right.
My dad still thinks that she's not real. I do, but he doesn't. But, you know.
Yeah. Monster Slayer like that is hard to believe. One could be so effective and live so long.
Yeah. But, you know, you gotta believe in something. Stories are worth it at the end of the day, even if they just give you hope.
They give you hope.
I mean, my dad wasn't very happy when I kept running into those woods, but, you know.
Right. Right. I was thinking, it's been a long time, and even though I saw some of your skills on the field when we were doing our testing, didn't really get to have anything one-on-one as we have before. So, I thought...
Are you asking me to dance?
He, like, ducks his head and kind of, like, laughs, just a tiny little chuckle, and then is gonna just throw his eyes to the sky.
So I remember you were fantastic with your moves and your form, and you called it dancing. That's why I made the joke.
Yes. Barden Favreau sang, I would be asking you if I may have this dance.
Absolutely. And she, like, unhools her stuff, and she's got her sword, and she's like, I mean, it's not exactly an axe anymore, but
Certainly
I think
not.
it'll do.
Kiara pauses with whatever she's eating halfway to their mouth.
Yeah. Oasis just goes, a meal and a show.
I
Who's
didn't
Emil?
expect to be so blessed. Ooh, both of them have such good muscles. You know, the only
Yes, they
winner
do.
here is us, right?
Tazrael's like sliding into this like very much.
Yeah.
You're the winner.
For once, Oasis is just like, you make a good point.
The one thing they're cool about.
We don't know who to cheer for. Barden's the bestie.
Pardon.
I'm going to
Matthias,
cheer for
actually.
Matthias, your muscles continue to be very good.
Thank you, Kiara. I am unfortunately still using the same old, and he's going to reach between his shoulder blades and unsheath his greatsword. Shall we? That looks like a good area, and he's gonna like try and lead over to a more flat land. And then
Excellent.
is going to look back to Barden and is going to kind of shuffle his feet and bring his hands together on the hilt of his sword and ready.
Barden does a very courtly bow, which is the kind that you'd read about in fighting books, and Matthias probably recognizes. Very low bow, and says, absolutely.
You're showing
Need
me
two of
up.
you roll initiative for me.
Hell yeah!
Archie, would you like to describe the sword, or shall I?
I would love to describe this
Please
sword.
describe the sword.
All right. You see, as Barden unsheaths for the first time her weapon, a massive greatsword of polished silver.
I think it's a long sword.
A
Sorry,
massive
Deb.
longsword of polished silver, richly inlaid with Celtic carvings that match the beautifully etched leatherwork that Barden wears. Up on the hilt, you can see two wolves' heads that are inlaid into the guard, as well as a sort of an open hole or crest in the base of the sword, with a moon that is floating gently inside. Going up the blade, there are these intricate scales, interwoven moons, as well as the silver fading into a burnished, honeyed bronze. And as they pull it out and draw it, you can see flashing in the sun these light silver drips of water or some metallic liquid that are slowly falling down the middle of the blade where there is a cut. on closer inspection, as the sun shines through the middle of this blade, you can see that it is basically hollow in the middle, just this liquid dripping down into this moon. They pull it out in one hand.
Holy shit.
It's better than the wooden one, right?
That is a very impressive weapon.
Leaving present from Da. I mean, he didn't like me going, but he didn't want me to be ill-prepared. So, you can appreciate that.
I certainly can. Let's see
I
if
mean,
it's as
you can have a
useful as
look
it is
after.
pretty.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, what are those initiative rolls, please?
I got an 11.
Out of 14!
Nice.
All
All right. So here's how this is going to work. You guys are welcome to try and beat each other to knock each other out, but I think we will not get to that point today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say that any blows you make are non-lethal, meaning that you're just aiming for areas where you wouldn't be causing a lot of damage to each other. That being said, you're welcome to just wail on each other, go all out, but I'm going to call this, it will be the first person to 5 hit points, not to 0 hit points.
Oh. Interesting. Okay. Hell yeah. All right, I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
He will say, magic. It's part of how I do things, but...
I only have a little. But, you know what? Absolutely.
Perfect.
No problem.
Then he's going to get a look of concentration in his face, and there is this very strange moment where, like, there's a weird sort of, like, dispersal of energy around him. You can't see anything. There's no shining, no glowing, nothing like that. It's literally just, like, as if there was, like, a bass boom or something, like, centered on his point. The grass around him just kind of, like, ripples outward just barely, and his, like, sort of, like, cape just kind of, like, gives a little ripple as he looks at you and squints his eyes in concentration, and he uses his bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark on Varden. And then he is going to step forward and take a huge swing with his great axe towards her. So here we go. Well, that is 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 from the hit, and that's another 2 points. So that is 12 points of slashing damage from the sword, and then from Hunter's Mark, that's going to be 2 points of, I think, still slashing damage.
I think you get her, like, I don't know, across the chest.
Yeah.
And
Oh no!
daggers back.
Varden, are you okay?
Good.
I like Taz and Awais are just like, fuck yeah.
I like lean over to Oash and just say, "Is this doing something for you?" Because it
It's
is for
doing
me.
everything for me.
Both of them, or just Matthias?
Oh, I think it's the both of them together.
I'm shaking.
I repeat, our eyeballs have been blessed today.
Varden, it's your turn.
Sort of staggering back. She just goes, "Oh, well, that was definitely a good hit. You know what? I do have a little bit of magic. This is just a touch. And let's see if this helps." And she pushes forward the sword, and from it expels Bane.
Oh!
And you see this pulse of light come from the moon, and
The moon, huh? Jesus Christ!
I need you to make, I believe it is a wisdom saving throw.
Oh my
it's
lord.
a charisma saving throw.
Charisma saving throw, thank you.
Am I charismatic? A skosh. 17?
No.
The DC is 12.
Actually, I don't know.
Actually,
I don't
wait.
know. I kind of like it.
You like getting bang cast?
I like it. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's fair.
It is kind of cool.
It's kind of fair.
Well, sexy.
But because of the state of the blade, I need you to roll it again, Matthias, with disadvantage.
Cool.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that'll definitely do it. That's gonna be fucking 8.
Oh,
Yeah.
you are banned.
Hell yeah. Hot shit.
Okay,
She just
so-
pulls it back and does like a little twirl.
whenever you
Some
make an
of this.
attack roll or a saving throw for up to a minute, you have to roll a d4 and subtract the number. Arden, you are now concentrating. Both Matthias and Barden are now concentrating. And you still have a bonus action if you would like.
Your boy raging.
You stepping into your advanced rage or just your regular rage?
Just regular.
Okay.
But I do like the idea that the moon colored eye just sort of pulses with the moon in the sword.
Back to Matthias.
Oh man. He is definitely gonna feel that and just this look at the sword kind of up and down, and grits his teeth and is going to go back in for another swing, steps forward, and this time in an upward direction. Let's do it. Okay, so this is gonna be roll that d20 and d4 at the same time. Oh, that is a crit fail. He swings so wide, temporarily distracted by this magic being cast on him.
All right. You hear sort of as this sword swings wide. The two of you now like facing off against each other with your companions watching. It looks like over on the road, this long line that is waiting. There are a few gasps. People are turning to look towards you guys. You see a few humanoids, some smaller figures. Sort of this hush whispering, and with I believe it is. Let me check. Oash's passive perception and Barden's passive perception, you guys hear just some coins being passed around. You can see coins changing hands over on
Oh my god, I go right over to those people.
I was gonna say, get on that.
Wonderful. Barden, take your next turn, and then we will have that
For sure.
with Oash.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's a 10. Oh wait, plus my rage. That's advantage on attack rolls, right?
I do not think you can reckless
No.
attack yet. No.
Mm-mm.
No, so you do not have advantage, but you will, if you just rolled a straight 10, you do have a +6 to hit.
I do? Dang.
Yes.
Sorry. I'm still learning barbarians. So 16 then?
Yo, damn.
That just misses.
Oh, so close. Dang it.
Clings off of Matthias's armor.
Wait, sorry to interrupt. Reckless
Yeah.
attack is at 2nd level.
Second
I
level.
think- Yeah.
So if you do
Okay,
want to
okay,
take it
okay.
with advantage, you can. You can attack recklessly to gain advantage on all your attacks, but that means that Matthias will also have advantage on attacking you for the next round.
No, I think she's good for the minute. It's not. This isn't like life or death. This is fun.
Okay.
Yet.
That's your action.
She is fun.
You are already raging, so Oash, you
Yara has to defend us.
you make your way over to there's a smaller cart. This one has a sort of a tarp over it. You can see it looks like 2 halfling men, darker skinned, are like trading back and forth coinage as they watch this battle.
Friends, are we betting?
First one looks over to you. Oh yes, if you're interested. Are those your friends?
I'm traveling with them.
Who would you put your money on?
Well, who have you put your money on?
Well, Joe here thinks that orc's pretty fine. So he's got 2 silver on her, but I think the guy looks more experienced.
You really should learn about and looks at the first one who betting below your waist instead of above your shoulders.
Looks up and is trying to parse what you mean.
Damn.
Was that an insult?
I'm going to put, how much money have you put on each one?
Joe has put 2 silver into the pot on Barden, and his friend Dave has put 3 silver on Matthias. So there's 5 in the pot, 5 silver in the pot, either way.
I'll put 2 on the half-orc.
Ah, okay. So you will be splitting 7 with Joe if
No.
if Barden wins.
I might
And,
steal.
Fair enough.
As that's happening, Kiara has moved over to Taz and now has their fingers gripped into Taz's arm. Which, remember, I think Taz is a foot taller than Kiara. No, 2 feet taller than Kiara. I don't know.
6'9".
Something ridiculous.
Wow.
Oh, okay, over a foot and a half ish taller than Kiara. But Kiara's just like, I hope there's not too much bloodshed. Is this too early for that, right? Or am I just, is this normal? Is this normal?
Like
What's
10:30.
Just not
Alright.
very normal, but I think and I'm patting Kiara's arm, like I'm not even worried about the grip, like just I think they'll be okay, and if not, you can patch them up, yes?
Yes. Yeah, don't worry about the grip. She has a strength of 6.
and Taz is just gonna keep patting her hand just periodically throughout the fight, just absentmindedly.
Lovely. Matthias, it's your turn. Remember to subtract a d4 from your attack roll.
He's gonna say, right, not quite a wooden weapon anymore. So that's real close. Okay, so that's 11 minus 2 is 9 plus 6 is 15 to hit. Does that hit? Oh man.
Yeah.
Step through, kind of whip around the opposite direction, so he's coming over his shoulder, and here we go. Oh
I'm just
god.
preparing to take all my health away. It's fine.
Oh gosh. That is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 points of slashing damage.
That
Oh
will be
wait,
half of 5 because you're raging.
15 points of slashing damage actually.
So, sorry, that was -5 because I'm raging?
No, 15 halved to 7. You take 7 points of damage.
Hell yeah. Okay,
Because you're
so
raging.
And
I'm on
would you
21.
roll a concentration check for me? You will roll a constitution saving throw, and you're trying to beat a 10.
That's a 3.
No.
Yeah,
Do you have anything to add to your con saves?
a 3.
Oh.
Rough.
That's
So
alright.
you
was
lose
cool,
focus
though.
on Bane.
That was
Sorry, I feel
cool.
bad.
I loved it. It was so cool. It felt cool to do it, so I'm happy. Yeah, like,
Awesome.
Adam blinks, and it's just like, ooh, well, good on ya. And
Stab!
Back to
And that's
Gordon.
going to be his turn. So, yeah.
so I'm gonna try and strike you with my sword.
Make.
That's a 22 to hit.
Holy fuck! Yeah, dude!
That's a 12.
Christ. Lord.
Yeah, she kind of, I imagine that you've struck her and you're behind her and she's turned and went, oh.
Oh, boy. Hell yeah.
Oh.
One
You okay?
second. Yes, doing some math. That was 12 points of damage.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Could you roll another 2d6?
Let me just do my concentration check here.
Yeah.
No.
2d6 for me, Shan.
So
Varun is full.
that's a
so-
5 and that's an 8 total.
Yeah, so add 8 damage to that.
Christ. Yeah. My man's hunter's mark for sure drops. For sure. Yeah, alright. Shit. Fuck.
So you're okay.
Damn. That was a big fucking hit, dude.
Kiara definitely let out a little screechy, squealy scream thing.
So you do this, and you just you fucking bury it into this, like, the opening between, like, his pauldrons and his gorget, and it just, like, sinks into his shoulder, and he kind of, like, is pushed down with the weight of it. His knees bend, and he, like, winces away from the blade as that extra, like, energy just, like, pushes into him. And then he is going to stand again and, like, sort of, like, take his arm guard, push it up against the brace of your sword, and just shove it out of his shoulder, and then come back in with the twist to kind of, like, go for your upper arm. And he's gonna do another attack. Oh my lord. Oh my god, no, that's not good. That's an 11 to hit. Yeah, that's what I thought. And that is really all that he can do. So that's gonna be his turn.
I like the idea that as Bard is like, the sword is not back, pulls it back into the fight position, says, I'm a bit too short to go for your knees now. I'm not that short anymore. Gonna go for you again, bud.
Yep.
Oh god, what do I add? +6. So that's a 19.
19 hits.
Gonna hit you with my sword again.
And for damage, you're going to roll 1d8 plus 2d6 plus 4.
Whew.
Wait, actually, are you rolling it two-handed or one-handed?
You know what, we'll go 2 because
2. All right,
Yeah.
so that'll be 1d10 plus 2d6 plus 4.
That's a big fucking hit, man. Hope you roll
One
low.
you'll be fine.
I might get taken out by this. That was a huge hit.
Yeah,
1d10.
Kiara
That's a
is
0 for the 10. That's
on
fine.
her
Oh
feet.
wait,
No, that's a 10.
that's a 10.
That means
That's
it's
a 10.
That's a 10. And then what else? 2d6.
Oh my god.
That's a 6.
Yeah. No,
That's a 2.
absolutely.
That's an 18 total.
Yeah,
and a
dude.
4.
No.
Plus 4.
That's a
It's
4.
10, 18.
Yeah.
22 points of
That's
damage.
22 points.
Oh,
of damage.
absolutely. Yeah, he's all the way down. You're gonna knock the shit out of him.
Kiara is on her feet, has screeched, and is running full sprint towards Matthias.
Oh,
Now, this
man.
is, to be clear, you were aiming non-lethally. This is a
Yeah.
non-lethal blow. It just, like, cracks into Matthias's armor in such a way that kind of, like, shock knocks him
Yeah.
unconscious.
Oh, man.
Arden does
Wow.
look terrified the moment he drops because, like, I've done this before, but that was with a wooden axe. And he was knocked on his butt, but this is different.
One of the halflings over by Oash just... Holy shit. You can see that Joe is now blushing, looking at this orc, which means that 7 silver is sitting between them on the cart.
Oash will just say, take it as a lesson. Raw strength beats practice hand to hand. And I would like to take all of it. And let me say how I do this and tell me what I would need to make this happen. So, prestidigitation says that I can create a non-magical trinket or an illusory image that can fit in my hand. So, I think Oash, in terms of payment, is going to go to the winning halfling and like show her jewelry, like lift it up and then create one that is not real within all of the things and be like, would one of these work for payment instead?
Absolutely. I will take... How about this? You can make a deception check using your intelligence because you are casting a spell. And intelligence is your spellcasting modifier. So if you're proficient in deception, you can add your proficiency bonus and roll with intelligence.
Oh, hell yeah, that's good because my charisma's not good today. Yeah, Oash going for like the typical thing, non-magic, remembers like with just like a flash of soreness and is like, right. And then uses prestidigitation. Okay. Let's see. Proficiency. That's a +6, so 18.
18 will do it. You flash this jewelry, and the halfling's eyes just sort of drift, like he's full on staring at Barden, just sort of like drift over to the gold, like bronze necklaces you're flashing before him, and
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if it's quite worth 3 silver, but I'll take it.
Well,
I like-
you just take the necklace, and I'll take all the silver in the pot. How does that sound?
Absolutely, sort of like scoots the coins aside, and glances back towards Barden so you can set your illusion down.
As
Barden has,
because it. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Barden has like this really long hair, and she just sort of goes like that, and it distracts me.
Thank you.
Like long anime hair, just
Yeah.
like.
And as Barden does that, because this only lasts for my turn, so that's 6 seconds. So OH will reconjure it as they take it off and lean over as they're staring at Barden and just slip it in their pocket with a little like kiss on their cheek as she takes the silver.
The
Gracious.
halfling man seems a bit overwhelmed. He like glances back towards you, back towards Barden.
Have a good
Yes.
journey.
Thank you.
There's a sort of a from his friend as you walk away.
Cash money. Nice.
Plus 7 silver.
Nice.
I'm rolling in it.
Is
Wonderful.
Matthias conscious?
Yeah. He's conscious. He's just like, I think that last hit, God, was a fucking huge hit. So he just like straight down to his knees and is gonna just like put a hand up behind him as like I'm done.
Well, Kiara, like I said, has run over, is now on their knees next to you, looks up to Barden and says, "That was amazing. You're amazing. You're beautiful. I'm proud of you." And then we'll turn to Matthias and say, "Can I help? Is that okay?"
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, and then she's gonna kind of, I guess she's on her knees too, so she's gonna kind of slide her hand in between your Gorge and your pauldron and cast Cure Wounds.
Oh yeah.
And you see, for anyone who's watching, they see this beautiful orangey red light, which normally you'd associate with fire, kind of just come out from like a little sun in between the little plate. And
That's so cute.
you get 6 HP back.
I
Hell
also
yeah.
will say, in my campaigns, based on the magic of my world, Cure Wounds heals for 2d8 as a baseline instead of 1d8.
Ah!
So you can add another d8 to that.
Well, that second one rolled an 8. So
There you go.
So that's
8 plus
Eight.
6,
14?
14
Mhm.
points.
14 points. And
Um,
he will like stretch his neck out as that's happening and just thank you very much. That is very helpful. And just takes a
your
moment
muscles
to
looked great.
You have a lot to
Um,
say about my muscles.
I mean, they're really nice. I can stop. I'm so sorry. But also, I told you this is much better. This is what I am better at and not crawling over nets.
You're very good at it.
While Matthias is getting healed, Tazriel is going to come up and clap Barden on the shoulder. An excellent display. Sorry.
Sorry, I got quite a hit to the front.
yeah, sorry.
You're next, bestie.
Oh, no problem. Matthias needs it more. Thank you. I'm pretty happy that went.
Yes. Would love to spar at some point.
Oh yeah.
Very curious how this would go. And then I also turn to Matthias and say, I'd love to spar with you as well. And then there's just like a how to describe it? Like I'm flirting. I'm flirting with Matthias in this moment. But I can't describe the face. It's like to spar with you as
yes.
well.
Everyone in this party wants to kiss so bad.
Kiss, 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 kiss.
Kiss,
It's total
kiss,
party
fall in
kiss.
love. Yeah, he'll.
Where is Barden hurt?
Right across the chest.
Well,
Which
Sloan responds.
she's kind of mad because it's her really nice shirt.
I think Kiara's gonna.
Just go
Okay,
for it. It's no problem.
Okay.
She's kind of like stands there, just like arms on her waist to let you do it.
Max heals. I rolled 2 8s in a row.
Yes.
+3.
Oh dang! You've just healed me.
19.
Yeah, you healed me right up. You literally put me back to max health.
It's the magic of hands on boobs.
Yes.
Yeah. She doesn't seem like like there's like a little blush, but she's just like, she's healing me, it's fine.
Your muscles also looked very excellent.
Oh, thank you.
And I wasn't the only one who noticed.
Oh.
I love
And Kiara just like casts eyes sideways to Taz and Awaish and all the people watching and
Barden didn't even notice the crowd. I was just turned around and going, alright.
A very
Did it look alright?
short halfling man.
Arden has fans.
I'm going to use this.
I wish we'll remember this. Matthias is going to stand with some effort and turn to Tazriel, and I guess some sparring would be a good idea. Apparently I wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. Well done, Barden.
I mean, I didn't expect all that magic coming from you. That was cool.
That
was pretty awesome.
definitely new in the last 13 years, as is yours.
Yeah. I mean, I know bits about it, but only as much as I could research. So
He's gonna
would
look
love
over the...
a history check from you, Matthias.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
History or Arcana, up to you.
Cool. He's gonna give one last glance, like, over that sword. That's gonna be garbage. It's a 3. And as he looks over it, he's just like, yeah, looks back to Barden. It's just like, you're definitely going to fully destroy me one day. If the history of our relationship is anything to
no,
base
I wouldn't.
off of.
I wouldn't destroy a friend. What's
Well
what's that
done.
about?
And he's gonna, like, yeah, reach hand out, kind of like predator handshake, grasp the forearm. Impressive as always.
It was a blast. Although you did kind of wreck my shirt. Does anyone know mending? Just like calls towards the crowd. Just like, anybody know mending? No,
I have a sewing kit.
I guess.
Do you know what helps with that? Armor.
I know, that's what my dad says. Armor, I know. But I want to look nice for everyone.
Everyone.
You look very nice.
Thank you. See? I mean, I managed pretty well without it.
You might get a little chilly, but I also don't see anybody complaining about that either.
I'll just get a coat. It's fine. I might get a shield if we can get one in town, but...
No, do
We'll
you
see.
want to borrow mine?
Oh, no, you need it. I mean, I'm always going to be in front of you, but you're going to need
yeah,
it.
you can be my shield, and my shield can be your shield.
Right.
Just
And
sort
with
of,
that-
like, grabs her, just like, you're so cute.
Aw.
With that, you guys can see that the traffic has begun to clear out a little bit over the passage of time. If you would like to take a short rest as this is clearing away and you finish up your lunch, you are welcome to do so. If you want to spend any of your hit dice to heal back up Matthias.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Okay. So you can do that, spend as many of them as you would like, but your cart pulls back into the formation and begins to pass through the open archway into the town of Fenfeld. Now, it is fairly busy. It's now around 11 or so, so you're getting into, as I said, you had your early lunch. The town of Fenfeld is decorated with a interesting assortment of red banners that represent the colors of the Raj Empire. But you also see a variety of interesting flags, market stalls of blues and purples that represent the different merchants who stand for the Serdux. Serdux being the noble houses of Skyhome. Based on your passive perceptions as you enter, I think it is only Barden who would note that since you have passed through this town before, looks like there are a few familiar merchants. You recognize there's a book cart stall with a halfling who you're familiar with, who has brought some goods to the tomb loft before, sold you guys some books. You also recognize a few different symbols of some of the noble houses. They are selling salted perfumes, bits of jewelry, maybe some components. Nothing too crazy here that you wouldn't be able to find in Aethri, but there are representations of some of the Serdux. As well as I believe it would be Oash's passive insight, as you're just generally looking around this town. Most people are on their guard here. You just get the general sense that people have their hands on their purses and are watching out. There's a variety of people who are passing through.
I'm going to lean over to who would be next to me? Maybe Taz. And just say, I'm trying to figure out if people are protecting their purses from others or from us.
After Oasia said this, I'll start just scanning the crowd. Can I I don't know, an insight check to get a feel is it in general or is it us? What is any way to know actively why they're like this?
Sure. I'll say this. If you want to make an insight check, there are a few different people you could look to judge the body language. You see some fire watch. These are soldiers who are stationed at the very edges of the Empire. If you want to just sort of gauge their reactions, you tend to be familiar with, how they would act. You could also look towards the crowd that you're standing among if you want to just insight check those people, or if you're looking for any action that has happened, or a post or notice board or something that might give you a signal, that would be perception.
Actually, since you mentioned Firewatch, I'm just gonna go walk up to one of them and just, hello, I'm Tazriel. I kind of imagine I have something that like an emblem or something that should when I'm not supposed to be hiding myself, I imagine I have something that marks me as I'm an agent of the royal family, that kind of thing. So people know if I get into something with the Firewatch, assisting them, I'm not just a random person.
Yes. On your leather outfit, you have a gold flame shape that marks you as part of the Raj family.
Got it. So I'm going to walk up to the Firewatch and, hello, I'm Tazriel. I'll motion to the flame.
Well, howdy. Hi, Miss Fairy.
An absolute pleasure to meet you. If I could bother you for a moment and just ask a question.
Oh, yes. What can I help you with?
Yes, the crowd and even yourself, potentially, or the other Firewatch members, seem to be a bit on high alert. My companions and I are simply wondering if something has happened, or is it just this is the reception for newer people, just to know what we're getting into.
Oh, yeah, I guess I suppose you could say we are a bit on our guard here, but just watching the border, making sure nobody's slipping through. That's all. We've had some recent thievery past couple months.
Understandable. Thank you. I greatly appreciate your time.
Yes, it's very nice to meet someone who appears to have been sent from the Empire themselves.
Yes, that is accurate, and it is always a pleasure to interact with the Firewatch and the brave individuals who keep us safe.
Thank you. That's much appreciated. I'm a recent graduate, so it is an honor.
You're going to do great.
Thank you. This is a lovely gnomish woman. She's got sort of a soft auburn, monk. As I said, they're sort of monkey folk in appearance, or like sort of a soft auburn beard, as well as these like pointed ears that are covered in fur, and a bit of a short tail that like actually twitches side to side as you walk away.
I go back to Oash. There's been a number of instances of thievery, so they're just on guard when newer people come through.
Ah. Well, how good are you at thievery?
I would like to try and steal something from Oash real quick. Something minor. Just like a...
I'll say this. Sleight of hand, or sorry, yeah, sleight of hand, I believe it is, but you have disadvantage because Oash, like, is aware that something
Fair.
like that, right, like, you know, is paying attention in this moment.
Fair. Okay. So I rolled a natural 20, but that doesn't mean anything because of disadvantage.
Damn.
But I did, but I did roll an 18, so
Nice.
21.
21. You are welcome to roll against it if you want to, Sarah, but yeah.
What
go
would
for
I
it.
roll?
Perception.
The only reason I want to roll it is because I truly want to see how good Taz is.
Yes.
I'd love to fail. Yeah, okay, that's only a 6 from me.
Wonderful. Yeah, so looking at Taz, you ask this question. What do you think, Taz?
What's something I lean in, how good am I? What's something minor I can just like your pockets, off anything.
Yeah, Oash
small
doesn't carry
and not expensive.
doesn't carry too much on them, but you could probably get that bag of silver that they just took.
Mhm.
Or
good am I?
you could take Darren. One of the two.
Oh, I'm not gonna take Darren. I feel like that wouldn't endear. How good am I? As I lean in, and then 1 second, eye contact for like 3 seconds, and then I hold up your bag of silver. Very good. When it's called for.
What if I called for it?
What exactly are we talking about here?
Fun.
Not against anyone that it'll actually hurt? Or what? I'm not against fun. I just don't like to actually harm others.
Well, that's a start. How about we look for some kind of, I don't know, asshole person who looks like their pockets are bursting?
Yes. That
Excellent.
is acceptable.
And we're gonna keep our eyes out for someone rich to steal from!
Excellent. You guys keep your eyes out. You begin to pass through Fenfeld. As I said, you can see a bunch of these different market stalls. The town mostly just sort of winds its way towards this opening, sort of like two halves of sort of like I would say a circle-shaped town that is nestled into the mountains, and there's this winding path that travels through the middle, a series of archways that parallel and mirror that front gateway that you pass under. So you're just sort of like passing by the delights of the town, but you don't have to like go around anything to make your way to the other side. If there is something you want to do or look for or pick up in this town, you're welcome to do so, but you also know you're heading to a bigger city soon.
While they're walking through, Kiara is going to at some point turn to Barden and say, "Oh, could I please ask you to do me a real favor? I've been pickpocketed many times, so could you hold my gold for me?"
Oh, of course. Takes it and just slips it in the leather vest. Like, no one's getting there without me knowing.
I get very easily distracted.
You do also wear a lot of jewelry.
Yes.
Like, it's very beautiful, but
I mean,
people do get, you know.
I mean, they can't just be handsy because I'm wearing jewelry. That's not.
No,
really
they might think
rude.
that you have a lot of money because you're wearing a lot of jewelry.
Oh, I never put that together. That's a good point.
It might be something.
Do you think Oish has the same problem that I do?
I think that Oish has a natural aura that probably stops people from doing that because they're too afraid that she might murder them.
Yeah, there's
Where
just a
you-
murder glare from Oish's face currently.
So I should practice my resting
Yeah,
murder face?
just look angry. Like someone did something to your morning porridge and it's despicable.
How's this?
I think that's perfect.
Ow, that hurts my face.
But Baden is going to look a little bit less friendly just while she's walking with Kiara, just feel like as she's walking along with Kiara to be like to put people off from coming to try and pickpocket them. like leans out her chest like.
As Kiara walks next to her, you just see Kiara do this over and over again, and then like rub her forehead because that hurts.
You're doing great. It's okay. Anyway, I've got your money. It's fine.
All right.
Matthias maintains the same expression that he always wears.
Good.
Wonderful. So you guys walk through looking very tall and very stern. Most people are not really getting too close to you guys. Just like I feel like the baseline intimidation of this party is pretty high.
It's quite high.
The glaring look is undercut as soon as Barden sees someone she recognizes, and it's like
Good shit.
Wonderful. So you do make your way to the edge of this town pretty fast. Takes about maybe 20 minutes, just sort of winding your way down this line. Once again, Oish, it is your insight that allows you to spot a target, as you are quite adept at. You see a bumbling human man who is draped in, looks like he's wearing like 3 or 4 cloaks of different colors of blue. He has these like tiny little silver spectacles and this white goatee, like a bleached white goatee. His hair is pulled back in this big white man bun, and he's just like books and books and books towering in his arms, so it's actually hard to see any more of his face besides this like fluffy little mustache goatee and his spectacles. Very pale skin, like he spends a lot of time inside.
Oish is going to point out this individual to Taz and then go, "You seem to be good at the light hands. What say I distract?"
Perfect.
And Oish will go up. They will take out Darren, but just as a regular book, and bury their nose in him, kind of thing, and then bump into this man.
Wonderful. Let me.
Oish has turned into Belle. Just 1 second.
Goes the baker with his
That
tray.
is lovely.
Always.
With a nat 1, he just goes spilling, actually. Like, this guy is low dexterity already. You bump into him and just books everywhere. His spectacles fall off of his face. You can see just, like, a few of these salt orbs, like, pour out of his pockets as he leans over and tries to grab those books. And you,
I'm so sorry. Oh, my God.
Don't even worry about it. Hi, hello. Just give me one moment. Did you see?
Yeah, for sure. You have like a lot of books.
Yeah. Yes, I see you also have I see you also have a lot of books. I mean,
I'm a bit of a reader.
One book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd love to see what you have.
Oh, I will show you in 1 second as I pick and he's just like grabbing his books. This guy, his voice is like up and down, cracking up the octaves. So he is distracted if you want to make any kind of roll, Taz.
Is it with advantage because I'm getting help?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God for the advantage. I rolled a 2.
Oh,
And
you're about to go to jail.
No, I maybe. But the other one is a 16, so 19.
A 19. Wonderful. So you like he's picking up these books. This guy once again is just like flush faced, sort of looking at you. You tower over him. He is a meager 5'2" for a human. And Taz, you're able to just walk by and grab whatever you would like. There are these salt orbs. There are these books that have like been kicked to the side on the edge of the road. You could even try and lean into his pockets and see if you could grab something from just these layers of fabric.
I'm gonna go for the pockets. I wanna get some coin.
Okay.
I don't know what the salt orbs or the books are.
Oh, he would know what the salt orbs are, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So just to let you know, because based on the economy of this world, and the weight of gold, I have always thought it was kind of impractical to carry around lots of gold. So salt, these polished salt orbs, are used as a form of currency in different places. So that means that some of these salt orbs can actually stand in for quite large amounts of money because you wouldn't want to carry around a decent amount of gold. So those little polished balls are actually worth more than a pocket of coins.
Kick that shit like a hacky sack, baby, straight into your pockets.
He might have other things in his pockets, but
No. Then from my knowledge, are these orbs of salt typically like uniform in size, or like the bigger they are, the more they like represent like monetarily?
They're all uniform in size, but they flash different colors. They have like a little glow inside of them that the color represents the worth. So it's hard to tell without like closely examining them how much they're worth, which is one of the things that helps with, stealing, but any of them might be worth a lot.
Yeah. I will grab. Yeah, I'm gonna grab one or however many orbs I can like grab with that roll. Just
with a 19, you can snag the 3 of them that have spilled out into the robe. He might not have even noticed that those ones fell. So.
Yep.
Okay. You pocket those. This guy sort of straightens back up. Says, "Oh, yeah. You said you're a reader. Well, if you, I've got a lot of."
Oh my god, I would love one, but I don't have any money, so I can't give you anything for them.
No. You don't have to give me anything. Here, just like is rifling around. And this like pulls out this purple thing from his stack. It's like a sort of a notebook. Pulls it out and like balances on top of the pile. It looks like there is a hand-drawn image on the cover of like a bunch of figures that are standing and facing towards a very large, busty giant.
Oh no, is this his fan fiction?
Oh boy.
I have a play that I've been trying to. If you want to take a look here.
Wow.
I have some more copies, but I can't reach them.
No. With every bone in their body screaming, God, no, I want a real fucking book. OH says, oh my god, I'd love to.
Here, just like slides it off the top of the pile.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Can I say in this moment, OH hears Taz in their head, you can leave now. I have taken, I'm not sure how much. And
okay.
Yes, I will have used my psychic whispers ability, the one free one I get per day.
Excellent.
OH will just do a little shoulder touch and say, if I ever see you again, I'll tell you how it is.
That sounds good. Professor Pygmalion, you can rattle tap bar here in town. Bye. Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye. And rejoins the group. Holding up the book that she got they'll say, well, like, the good news is I have some kindling for tonight.
Tazriel will actually.
Sorry, yeah? Matthias?
Oh, I think he's just surprised and is like, you bought that?
Oh no, it's his manuscript. It was a gift.
Did we see this happening? Are we saying in fiction that we saw this happen? What you were just doing?
You probably would have seen me talk, maybe not Taz steal.
Yeah, I would try to make sure at the very least, Barden and Matthias don't see me steal.
No, yeah. I don't think that I would have seen that, but just the watching Owesh
yes, absolutely.
go. This guy just gives them a book after they walk directly into him.
So I recognize this dude.
What was that?
Would I recognize this dude if he's a bookkeeper?
Oh, I would love that. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I think you do, because he does visit a lot of libraries around. This guy is Professor Pygmalion. He is in fact like friendly with some people at the Tomb Loft. He also just travels around a bit, so you might have heard that he's like brought some books over or done some research. I don't think you know him super well. You might not have really talked to him, but he is he's actually a member of the Dever Order. He is a mage on a court of mages in the Empire.
He didn't try to get you to read his manuscript, did he?
Just hold it up. Wait.
The giant on the front is very unrealistic. I'm just going to say.
Owesh gets free things and I get my pockets picked? This doesn't seem fair.
But you didn't. You haven't.
I didn't. No, I need to practice the resting murder face. You're right. But I want free stuff.
You can have this.
Ooh, really?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
I would also
Read it,
like to read
Tiara.
that when you're finished.
We had a copy that we just passed around, and it was not good.
Maybe we save this for a really cold night where we need entertainment.
As
It
you
sounded like
glance
Tazriel
down,
was interested in reading it.
Yeah.
as you glance down at the cover, Kiara, you see that it reads "Taken for Granite."
Is it going to be filled with buns? I love buns. Buns are great. I can't make
usually a
buns,
big-
but I love them.
Yeah, big fan of puns. Not of this book.
Oh, okay. I think Yara just looks sad.
Chalk it up to experience.
Ooh.
Granite, chalk. Get it?
I'm proud of you. Yara gives Barden a high five.
Well, if you need a book, you can go shopping for some here, but there will also be books in Aethri, unless you're...
There's a lot more there. Trust me, I've had to travel.
Yes. So, are we good?
I'm fine.
Shall we continue?
Yes. Tazriel's gonna be in the back of the group, like a little bit behind Oesh, and is gonna actually take a moment to take a look at what the hell he stole.
Great. You have acquired 1 salt stone that is worth 2 gold. Is a 2 gold piece. You've gotten 1 that is worth a platinum, and you have 1 that is worth 5 platinum.
Fuck yeah!
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's a lot of... That is some shmoney. Damn.
And in Oesh's head, apologies if this is intrusive, but I don't think we should talk about this out loud. We have 2 gold and 6 platinum.
Fantastic. Split it up in the next town.
Yes.
Great. And we continue.
Wonderful. Agent of the Empire, stealing from a mage. My favorite thing in the world.
I know how to have a good time. Nobody was hurt.
Whatever methods get it done.
Wealth redistribution.
Exactly.
So you begin, you pass through the town of Fenfeld. As you come to this last archway, you can see it does look like there's this lovely,
rising feeling to the architecture on the end of this town, where before you had these like low, warm stone walls, as I said, that like sort of squat Russian architecture. The architecture begins to expand upward into the mountains, turning more into wood, glass, and these beautiful salt sculptures that are actually like set and carved up on the mountains here. You see figures, looks like coiled snakes, as well as large birds, deer that are poised with their hooves up, just carved all out of salt with artistic display, as well as a series of boats that are sort of strung up and hung from areas of the mountain. One in particular just hangs over this archway. You can see this sort of like large upside down ship, and then hanging from that, there's like a deck with ribbons that are draped down from it, and a lively band is playing on this deck. A sign as well, like painted on the ship, says "Rattle Tap Bar" as you pass underneath.
Oh, we can't go in here. I won't say that out loud though.
Oh, the telepathic link is still technically up for 2 hours. So if you...
Oh, amazing. Oish will be like,
Yes.
oh god, that's where the professor said he was going.
Oh.
What
Is
do
that where
I
we're
know of the
headed?
route tap bar?
Out of character. Is that where we're headed? We're going to the...
No. You
We're
are
just passing it.
Passing through.
Cool.
If you want to stop, you're welcome to, but you do not have to. It looks like it's a deliberate tourist attraction that is placed right at the end of the town, so everyone that's like leaving hears the band and is like, what if I was thirsty? What if I got a drink before I left? That kind of thing. But Barden, you have been here before.
It's so pretty.
She'll tell Kiara all about it, and just like, I've only been here a couple of times because you get this thirsty after collecting books, but quite fun. It's a bit for tourists, but it's nice.
But I am a tourist, right? No, I guess we're on a job, I suppose. But Kiara just looks wistfully at it.
We'll go another time.
Okay. All right.
Keep on going.
Okay. You pass beyond the Rattle Tap Bar. Now you can see you have your horse and your cart, but it does look like beyond the edges of this town, there's sort of this strange field that slowly transitions into this beach made of these transparent white stones. At the edges of the grass, it looks like there's just a bunch of these transparent sort of rocks that have broken off. Maybe they've fallen down from the statues, but as you get closer, you can see that you have reached the beginning of Skyholm, the salty beaches of the home country of Barden and Matthias. As you exit this archway, pass under with the music playing lightly in the background, you see stretching out before you a mirror? No. The expansive, flooded salt flats of Skyholm, reflecting first the shadow of these massive mountains in almost a landscape painting of these reds and whites and oranges, but beyond that, clouds stretching out over hundreds of miles, thousands of miles, with indistinct shadows on the edges, maybe some other kind of landscape, towers, ships, but it is impossible to see because right now you are practically blinded by the bright light of the sky reflecting out in front of you.
Wow.
Arden looks to Matthias, just like,
His expression is flat until he catches her eye and then just nods, looks kind of tired, and sees the sort of wonderment moment of everyone else, and it's just like, yes, the salt flats are quite breathtaking.
I'll say they're beautiful.
Yes, they're very beautiful.
Quite a sight.
Are we crossing them?
Yes, I believe so.
If
We'll be
I were to
taking-
taste the sand, would it be salty?
Very, and I wouldn't recommend it.
Oh, okay.
Barden's going to pick up one of the translucent rocks as they pass and just slip into a pocket.
This is unrefined Skyholm salt, so it's not super polished or anything, but there is plenty of it. Could even be valuable if you were in the desert or, on the coast. Yes, you will be passing through here as you move beyond passing through this divide in the mountains, and you see the landscape stretched out before you. As you look to your right, you can see that there are a bunch of boats, as well as stables that are sort of set up against the other side of the mountain. So opposite Fenfeld on the Skyholm side, there are places to rent boats, sell horses, sell carts, or rent a larger skimmer that could take you across where you're looking for. As you look towards your right as well, away from the landscape that is unblemished by any kind of building, you can see in the distance Aethrai, almost like a giant tiered cake shape of a city. It sort of sits out from the mountains as they expand and curve out on your right, again, disappearing into the horizon. A massive wall circles this cake. Looks like it's made of some kind of deep dark stone, different than standing out against the salt flats. And there's this hazy mirage that again just reflects the city in all directions. No matter which way you sort of glance to the right, you can just see its imprint.
Right. So we need to... Do we already have a ship, or do we need to get our ship?
You do not have a ship. You will need to
Amazing.
pick one up.
Let's go see if we can get ourselves some transportation across this water. If anybody wants to accompany me, you're totally fine to stay here if you prefer it, but okay.
Me as
Kiara
well.
wants to go.
Sure. Oh.
I've never been in a discussion like that. I mean, I won't talk if you don't want me to. I'll just
buying something?
No, but getting a ship, that's so big and important.
Well, then this will be
responsible.
New and exciting. It's not that exciting, but
I'm sure it is.
Let's go get
You strike me as
a ship.
someone who likes to undersell yourself.
I recognize my skills and capabilities. I just don't talk, I suppose, as much as other people.
Well, I highly recommend being loud and proud about it, because if you won't, who will?
Sloan, if you would like to switch us back over to Roll20.
Hell yeah!
I need to kick myself into Roll20.
Take me to the
Wow.
Roll20.
Take me away.
A secret place.
And who's gonna go buy it?
I think everyone's tagging along, actually.
Yeah, I believe everyone's tagging along, but Matthias, Kiara, and Taz said they wanted to be the front face.
Yeah. I was just fine with hanging back.
Look at this freaking map, man.
This is a great map.
Thank you. So you guys can now see spread out before you the lands of Skyholm. You have just passed through Fenfeld. So if you look down towards the lower right corner, you can see Aethrai stands before you, a little bit to your right, and the rest of the salt flats stretch out. Because of the nature of sort of curve here and the way the land is scaped, it does create an illusion that you can't really see most buildings or towns until you get closer to them, except for the massive capital. Barden, you are familiar with this. I think Matthias, you also are familiar. This is a way stop, often known as the Rocky Road. So they have stables, obviously a pun on the beaches here, skimmers that you can rent, as well as these interesting horses that you are capable of walking on water, striding across salty water, in particular known as sky skimmers, sky skimmer horses. So you would likely have some kind of forward pay in order to rent this boat that you are hoping to get paid back if your funding is approved. So you can add to your inventory 15 gold pieces that you would have gotten. No, just Matthias.
Okay, the money that would have gone towards travel and shit. getting everyone where they need to be. All right.
Exactly.
Let us find the person who looks like they're in charge.
Okay. You guys approach the rocky road. This is an area that's set back into the mountains itself, so it's sort of like an arched that's carved into the mountain, and then you have these wood slats that come forward to create the stable, as well as where some of the boats are docked, just like resting on the beach or floating a little bit where the salty water is lapping up against them. You approach as you approach the front of the rocky road, where a sign dangles in the wind that is painted in white lettering with the name of the area. You see a tiefling is sort of like waiting, leaning forward. This guy is just like one of the whitest tieflings you've ever seen. Like, his skin is practically translucent, albino, pink eyes, like bleached white hair. He almost hurts to look at, standing out against the like shade that he's in.
Somebody was
Holy
saying
shit.
something. Was Tazriel going to do something?
Yeah, right, sorry. Before we got like to somebody we needed to talk to, Taz would be, perhaps and like I'll point to my insignia. Perhaps this would be useful in acquiring a well-priced and more easily obtainable ship.
If you're willing to put that forward, I'm sure it wouldn't hurt.
I'm very willing. And then when we see the tiefling, I'm like, if I may, because I get so excited about it. And then in my head, I say to O'Shea, if you have any abilities that could boost my negotiation skills, I'd appreciate it in this moment.
Awaish there will be a moment of quiet and then say, unfortunately, I don't have anything like that. Ask the healer, maybe?
Hello, friend. And I'm turning to Kiara.
Me. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Would you happen to have any ability that would enhance my negotiation skills? I think in combination with the flame, our shared heritage, and maybe a little magical help.
Oh, yes. 1 second. And then Kiara will grab onto her holy symbol on her waist and put their hand on, we're going to pat an elbow, I guess.
I'll hold out my hand.
And like, Kiara will be like, Bane's got you on this one. And cast guidance.
Yay. Thank you.
Cute.
Taz, you approach this tiefling.
Good day, family. Or actually, I take that back. Good day. I'm not gonna call them family. That's so weird for a random person I'm not traveling with.
No worries. Good day.
Yes. You seem to be in charge here, and we're hoping to procure a passageway.
What do you want?
A ship. We need to cross to A3 and for the 5 of us.
5. Okay. You want a ship? All right. Okay. Are you traveling with any goods? How much space do you need?
I can step forward and help if
Yes,
Taz is
with
okay
that
with
part.
it.
I was not sure about that part.
Matthias will step forward at Taz's elbow and just rattle off. We have a selection of carts as well as a horse, and we're carrying, and we'll just like list some of the stuff that they're carrying.
He pulls out like a sort of a stick of chalk and just like is writing on the wooden bar here and like calculations. Well, you're not gonna need something too large. If you want to pay for someone to speed up the journey, we can do that here. Get you one of the wind mages. But I think in total, for one of the larger boats and the horse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll be 8 gold.
And I'll pull Matthias aside for 1 second.
Yep, you can whisper to him.
Yes. I think I could potentially haggle that down, but I am unsure what our funds look like, and I don't want to do something inappropriate in the situation, as you might see it.
No, feel free. I highly doubt that you'll drive the price any further upward.
While they're doing that, they've left Kiara unsupervised.
Yes.
Oh no!
Kiara,
So Kiara steps up.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
Doing what?
This wonderful job that you do. It just seems so interesting. You get to meet so many people.
Wonderful. I've been working here for about 4 years.
Wow. I mean, do you love it here? What's your favorite part?
Yeah, I love it here.
I can tell! You seem so, like, I don't know. You just seem so on top of your game. I'm very impressed.
Are you being
love
serious?
confidence. Of course I'm being serious.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess there are some interesting people, but, you know, it does get old. I don't
But isn't
I
that
don't get
the
to
case?
sail myself.
Oh no! Maybe you could take like a holiday or something. You should be able to take the benefits of your position.
My boss got mad last time I took a skimmer out with some friends. We kind of trashed it.
Well, that's just completely uncalled for, and I would say your boss is a jerk.
So would I, but don't tell them that.
Of course not. Mum's the word. But, I think my friend is very excited to meet you.
Which friend?
Pointing to Taz.
Oh!
Tall guy?
Yeah.
Not really my type.
Ooh. Wait, what about the other one?
The big and
musky one?
scarry?
Yes.
Nah.
Well, I tried, but what is your name?
I'm Mork.
Mork. It is so utterly lovely to meet you. And,
You too.
I'm Kiara, by the way. And
Kiara.
this is my first time sailing, so if you have any tips, I'm all ears.
Keep your hands inside the boat at all times.
Okay.
Don't drink the salt water. It just makes you more thirsty.
Okay. This is all very helpful.
It helps to scrape down the boat every few days because the rocks on the bottom can collect. Desalt them,
Are there people on the boat who can do that? Because
If you want to, reaches for his chalk. If you want a hireling, I can.
Oh no! I'm sure I'll ask somebody else. It's just if I try to take a rock off a boat, it sounds like the boat's just going to fall on me.
Oh yeah, you look like you've never scraped a hole in your life, so.
Thanks. I think. Yeah.
Are you going to pay me soon?
I think we come back at this point.
Yeah!
What is Mark's type?
That was incredible.
Yes, the matter of payment.
Yeah.
Is there any chance to knock off a few gold from that?
We're friends.
Make a persuasion check.
Yeah, and wait, as Kiara says, friends, and I'll say as associates to the royal family, as I do my thing. Okay.
Persuasion plus a d4 for guidance.
Get that D4.
Come on.
Oh no.
I'm proficient in persuasion, by the way. However, proficiency is not going to help when I roll a 5 total with the d4. So,
oh my god.
8.
Rough.
8. I rolled a 2.
Jesus.
Like he's leaning over the bar. He's got these sort of just very pointy, not too long horns. They're a lot smaller than yours are. No one's ever tried that before.
Being friendly? I wasn't trying anything.
You seem
Yes.
genuinely nice, but I get it. Royal family, every Rajan and their uncle and their uncle's daughter's uncle are trying to get to see the other nobles and their parties here in Skyhome, so it gets a little old, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
there are
apologize
very
for that.
many of them.
Yup.
Us, them.
Yup.
And I motioned to Matthias just to pay the 8 gold, and I add an additional gold for the exhaustive nature of my approach. Apologies,
A nice
cousin.
tip.
I will call him cousin. I will call him cousin at the end of that, though.
Yep.
So nice to meet you, friend. And I hope I can call you friend, Mork. And you have a great day, and you show your boss
Yep.
who's in charge.
Thank
Can I
you
roll
very much,
insight?
Kiara. You're standing further back.
I want to roll insight for Mork's.
Desperately wants this.
It's a mystery. I need to know. It's not even 4 away. So I'm just curious to see if he's like checking out Barton or some shit. Oh no. Oh no.
We're all rolling bad.
That'll be an 8. I see
An 8.
nothing.
You are looking between your party, very attractive people. The only thing you can think is that maybe Mork is just afraid of people who are taller than him.
How tall is Mork?
Mork is 5'5".
Like an average
Oh.
person size.
Like an average,
like a
average
normal person.
Like a normal person.
And can we expect that soon, or will we have to wait?
No, I'll bring it around right now. Give me a minute.
Thank
The
you.
line makes more sense now considering how slow this guy is.
Yes.
So he trots out from behind. You can see that he's actually kind of furry from the waist down, white tiefling kind of furry, has these hooves that are coated in some kind of metal, for walking on the beaches. So he's able to walk pretty easily. There's a nice clinking sound. He goes over, he comes back over with, looks like just 2 hired guys. They're wearing leather vests, and they drag over this interesting skimmer. It's a very flat boat. Normally you would expect a boat to have, more of a curved hull, but that obviously doesn't really work on the floodlands because they tend to be kind of shallow. So it's a very flat ship with these raised sides and raised prow towards the front, sort of open on the back end, so you can actually roll the carts on, roll the have the horse step onto it. Any kind of mobility device, it would be very easy to get onto these ships, as well as sort of these pointed sails that scoop in the middle, like a W shape in the sails, which is meant to catch the winds in a certain way as you're sailing across the floodlands.
As we're walking away from the desk, I will just put a hand on Tazriel's shoulder. It was a good try.
That typically works more often.
I believe it. I think that you were just sort of facing off with a tough crowd.
Right.
Yes.
As you guys make your way onto this ship, Kiara, you do hear from behind you, just sort of it was nice to meet you, by the way. Miss, I hope you swing by again soon. He gestures you over for a second. There are actually sometimes me and my friends sneak out on some boats at night. If you guys are heading towards the capital, I think it's usually around 1 or 2 in the morning. But if you follow the lanterns, you might find yourself a fun time.
Oh,
outside
okay.
the city.
Yes. I can't wait. I'm going to try my hardest to convince the strict one over there that this is a great idea.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that.
Thank
And-
you.
On that note, I think we're going to end session there for today.
Oh, man.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We have completed our first little leg of the journey. We are heading into the big city next time. It was such a pleasure playing with you all, and thank you all for joining us.
All right, everybody.
This is so good.
Let's go to the goodbye screen. Everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.